Hello, everyone. Welcome to a series of webinars we've been conducting on version 2, the launch of version 2 of our system. My name is Ranga. I'm the Vice President of Customer Engagement. And during this session, we want to take you through one of the final phases of our launch of version 2.0. So we're going to specifically look at the transaction module, and we will take you through how to conduct transactions in the new system. Before that, I just want to give you a quick update on where we are in terms of our three-phased approach for the launch. So as you remember, we had three clear phases which we were going through as part of the launch. The phase one was the migration of all onboarding activities with respect to company, sites, certificates, and user management. The phase two was the complete migration of all products. I think someone's got their audio on. Could you mute that, please? Thank you. Yeah, the migration phase two was about products and product creation. And the last phase was going to be the go live of all purchase orders and transactions effectively. So in terms of timeline, between September and October, all accounts, sites, and certificates were migrated from version 1 to version 2.0, which was completed in the last week of October. The plan for the second phase of migration was between November and December, where all products and product category details were to be migrated. This again was concluded in mid-November itself. Now we are at the final phase of the go live, which is phase 3, and the plan was to launch in January 2024 onwards. And as a precursor to this, we said December 20th, 2023 would be the cutoff for PO upload or transactions on the existing version 1.0. And we also said that between December 20th and Jan 15, 2024 is a bit of a cool-off period where there would be no PO uploads or transactions conducted either on the old version 1.0 or the new system, which is version 2.0. So currently, we went into the shutdown on December 20th, 2023, and I'm sure you've noticed that you are not doing any transactions in either of the systems right now. And we are on course to go live on Jan 15th with the new version. And what would happen is, as we come to the end of the cool-off, you will notice that you're still able to log into version 2.0. You're still able to update company details, user management, sites, certificates, and products, etc. But you're not conducting any transactions at this point in time. Similarly, from our side, we've been working to migrate all the inventory and data from the old system into the new system, and that migration is almost complete. And we plan to go live on Monday, the 15th of January, 2024 at around noon UK time, Greenwich Mean Time, is when we will go live with the system. So once we go live, you would be able to conduct transactions on version 2.0. All your brands would start uploading purchase orders on version 2.0. And we would also start complete support for version 2.0 transactions as well. But in the meanwhile, we are doing this session to take you through what would transactions look like on the new system, because as you've noticed, there's been a small change in the UI of the old system, in the UI of the new system. And there are also some new features that we've introduced that would make it more and more richer for traceability. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand over to my colleague, Priyanka, who will take you through what the transaction module looks like in the new system. Before I hand over, just one quick note. If you have any questions, please put it in the Q&A section of this session, and we will pick it up and answer this as we go through the demonstration. So Priyanka, with that, can I hand over to you to take us through the transactions?
Right. Thanks, Ranga. Is my screen visible and my voice is audible?
Yes to both.
Thank you. Thanks, Ranga. Thank you, everyone, for joining this session. So I will be touching upon now on how the transactions module is going to look like. And just that everybody knows that there has been UI change. So as we had for product creation, now also for transactions, just giving you a transactions overview on how the module would look like. So when you log into your account under fiber to retail, there is products, transactions, and also inventory. This will change based on the roles, different roles that your business is catering to. So once you will click on transactions, this is how the UI would look like. We have introduced a couple of new things which I will be touching upon. But before I start, I'll just let you know that once you click on transactions, you will be able to see four sub-tabs, that is transaction summary, transactions, drafts, transaction rules. Now, what does transaction summary mean? Transaction summary is the listing of all the transactions that you would have conducted, you would have transferred to the next supply chain player. And under that, you will also be able to see the incoming and outgoing transactions as it was there in version 1. What new thing is that you will be able to see the incoming and outgoing depending on the role that you are catering to. Right now, I'm in a different recycler account and I've put a print screen of a recycler account. So because they are the starting point, there is nothing like an incoming and outgoing transaction, but the transaction summary will be applicable to all supply chain players. Transactions is what we had in version 1, from where you transact is transactions. It's the feature from where you can do the transaction via web-based and upload method to the next supply chain player. Drafts is a new feature we have introduced, in the sense that when your transactions, you're trying to conduct a transaction and you have not fulfilled or completed all the details, you can click on Save Draft and it will get saved in the Drafts sub-tab. And transaction rules is very similar to what we had in the product creation rules, where you will be able to see all the rules from the master rule engine that we have created, the input and the output. So this will help you facilitate your transactions. You can have a look at the transaction rules and choose the inventory and also the output product and mitigate the problems of the failed transactions that was happening in version 1. So the rules will help you facilitate transactions going forward. Apart from that, you'll also be able to see that under the transaction summary, we have introduced a couple of more fields or statuses, which I'll be covering later on. Now, what has changed from version 1 to version 2? A very basic thing. In version 1, the user, you are providing the output details. But now in version 2, we are also asking the input product details, such as the input raw material details, lot number, which was in version 1 just a selection of inventory. But now, while you will also need to provide the input product details while you are conducting the transfer. At the same time, we've also introduced a production date field, which is not mandatory, but in case you have the details of when the particular transaction, when you're conducting a transaction and you have the production date of that particular transaction or that particular product, you can add the production date as well of that complete lot. We also understood that in version 1, only one inventory could be selected for one transaction, but now there is an option to select multiple inventories while you're conducting transactions. Supporting documents was not mandatory in version 1, but for version 2, for e-trackit or certified transactions, and for certifications where US cotton is being used as a fiber composition, there the documents are mandatory, which would include invoice and shipment documents, and other and purchase order documents, which we give in the drop down, they are not mandatory. So these are the very basic changes which we have brought in version 2.0, and I will also show on the live platform how it would look like. So as I mentioned, I'm right now in the account of a recycler, where once you go to fiber to retailer, there is transactions, and under transactions, there is transaction summary, which will summarize all the transactions that have been successfully done or there are pending for CB approval. Likewise, transactions will show you will give you the view of where you can conduct the transactions via web-based and upload method. And this is similar to version 1, where web-based is you can do it from the UI, and upload is the bulk transactions that you want to do using a transaction template and uploading the file. Draft, as I mentioned, that in case there is some transactions which you could not complete, we are providing the option of save draft, and it will reflect here. And transaction rules will give you all the input and the output of the transactions based on the role that you're catering to. Likewise, if I go to a spinner account, as I mentioned, if it's a spinner account, there is incoming transaction and outgoing transactions, because they can also receive the raw material from their supplier, and at the same time they can also send it out to the customer. So for them it would be an incoming transaction and outgoing transactions. Likewise, for all the other roles, this is going to be uniform. Now coming to the production date that I was mentioning. So once you go to transactions and you try to conduct a transaction to your customer, I'll just quickly give you a glimpse of how it would look like. So when the recycler is supposedly trying to do a transaction to a fiber producer, these are all the different fields that will come up. So you'll have to give the invoice and the input and output article details. So the number, shipment reference number, shipment date, purchase order is all very similar to version 1. And here you'll be able to see that there is an option of select article, which is your output article, and what is the site and facility that was used for creating this output article. There is also a lot number that has been kept mandatory for certain supply chain players. And the volume which is mentioned here is the output volume that you wish to transact to the next supply chain player. Because right now I'm in a recycler account, it will show the unit as tons, kg, pounds, but we have kept it customized for various different supply chain players as well. When we come to standard certificate and certification body approval, this is very specific for e-track-it programs. So depending on the output article that you are using and the site which is attached to it is either GRS certified or RCS certified or any other certification, the standard certificate will automatically populate based on what the site is certified for. In the same way, if the certification body approval is required, it will show whether certification is required or certification body approval is not required. So that is the drop down how it will work. Again, this is very specific to e-track-it programs. As I mentioned, the support, once you will fill all this detail, the supporting documents, once you will click, you will be able to see the invoice and the shipment documents is mandatory, and the purchase order and other documents, they are not mandatory. The supporting documents, as I had mentioned, is only again very specific to e-track-it and US Cotton Trust Protocol. So I'll just fill in some of the fields so that you get an understanding on how it would look like. So as I mentioned, this is the output product that you want to transact, as we had in version 1, that you had the option of selecting product. So from here, once you'll click on the article, the entire list of all the products that have been created will show up. And because this product is connected to a GRS certified site, and you click on submit, as I mentioned, the site and facility will show up here, and the standard certificate will also show up. So based on the product that you create during product creation, whatever site has been attached will show up in the drop down. Automatically system will pick up, and also the standard certificate. Again, as I mentioned, very specific to e-track-it programs. And as I mentioned, this is the output volume that you want to transact to the next supply chain player. And once you go to input, this is the inventory. What we had in version 1, we had an inventory button where you used to click. Now this UI also has changed. So you have a different view altogether, where you'll be able to see that for this particular output article that you have created, what is the input that needs to be selected. And again, from the inventory, you can choose the input, and also now you can see the balance, which was not previously explicitly visible in version 1. So this way, based on the balance, you can choose the input and conduct the transfers. As I mentioned, there is also an option of selecting multiple inventory. So again, you can choose multiple inventories or multiple lots for the same transactions. Once you will click on submit, there are supporting documents, and because this is a eTrackIt certified transaction, the supporting documents are mandatory. So invoice documents, shipment documents, they are mandatory, and the other purchase order document, certificate of origin, these are not mandatory. So this way, this is how the transaction module would look like, and the same thing you can do for the upload method as well. Now, just coming to some of the additional features which you may like to know that we have added in version 2.0 for the transactions is, previously in version 1, the trader role, they were not able to add their own internal reference number while they were doing a transaction to their customers. Now we have given an option, an extra field where you can change the output article number to your internal reference number and then conduct the transactions. So now it is not like version 1 where there is no flexibility, but now in version 2.0, while you're conducting transactions, you can also change the output article number and conduct transactions. One more new thing we have added is that for the spinner and the fabric mill role, there will be a field to declare generic fiber details in case of a blend product which has a premium and generic blend composition. So for the generic fiber, you will have to declare the material composition, the state and country of origin while you are at the transaction stage. So this is in compliance to the laws and also by most of the brands where they want to understand that what is the state and country of origin of the generic fiber, whether it's cotton, whether it's polyester or any other generic fiber. It's essential that you will have to give the state and country of origin. There, as I mentioned, there is an option of save draft in case you were not able to finish all the details. Update and retry, there is a separate tab altogether. In case the transactions have failed, there is an option to update and also retry. We have given like a separate radio button for that. Pending transactions, in case the transactions, in case of eTrackIt and USCTP, you have done via an upload method and not uploaded the supporting documents, then the transactions will go under the pending tab. So I will also show how the pending tab looks like for pending documents. For pending CB approval, again specific for eTrackIt, some transactions that will require certification body approval. If the CB is yet to verify the transactions, it will be under pending CB approval tab. Then for vertically integrated setup, if you have multiple roles and there is a eTrackIt, again for eTrackIt programs, there is a CB approval required, then the CB approval will only be applicable at the starting point if it's a recycler or if it's a fiber producer, following which there'll be no CB approval that would be applicable. We also are giving an option of changing the certified transactions, eTrackIt certified transactions to uncertified transactions. In case the CB is taking time to approve the transactions, the supply chain player can also change the transactions from certified to uncertified. GRS to RCS conversion, supposingly you're creating a product which is attached to an RCS certified site, you can still use a GRS certified site as an inventory. So while you're trying to conduct an transactions, in the inventory you can choose the inventory which is GRS certified, and then the product can also will be transacted as RCS certified till the brand. So there is an option that even if you have in your inventory a product that is GRS certified, but you're using creating a product which is only certified RCS certified, you can still conduct a transaction, but then it will be throughout the chain going as an RCS certified product till the brand. So there is also an example. We'll share this with you so that you can better understand how it would flow. I'll go back to the live platform just to show how the trader transactions, the points that I mentioned would look like. So in trader, as I mentioned, you can see the output article number. So this is the field that I was mentioning. everything remains the same. There is invoice number, shipment date, purchase order. And once you select the article, you can also have the option of editing or changing it to your output article number and conduct the transactions. Now, these were certain tabs that I was mentioning. If you go to failed, there is an option of update and retry transactions. Previously, there was just one icon which was there in version 1, but now we've explicitly given update and retry transactions, which comes under the failed transactions. Then once you conduct a transactions, we've also given an option of created. That means it is still getting processed and by the system. It has not yet transacted. Then it will get, and it is either in fail, or if it's in created, it means that the system is still processing the transaction. And once it is successful, it will go under transferred. Pending transactions. So the transactions which require supporting documents, as I mentioned, will lie under the pending transactions in case the supporting documents are not uploaded. You can click on view transaction details and click on plus and add all the supporting documents. If this is not added, it will always stay under pending transactions. And pending CB approval means the ones which require the approval from the CB, certification body. In case of e-track, will lie under pending CB approval. And as I had mentioned, in case the CB is taking time to approve, we have given an option to change to uncertified. So these are a couple of additional features that we have brought in version 2.0. Now I'll just touch upon the material declaration part. So material declaration was not a part of version 1, but we are introducing it into version 2.0. And it is a method of disclosing the raw materials or the inventory that is used to create a product. And this is very, very specific to a recycler, fiber producer, filament producer, ginning mill, raw wool stock producer, manufacturer, roll. Farm has an option to declare the farm capacity while they are creating the site in the company profile. So material declaration, you will see as a separate module, like how you saw transactions. So if you're a recycler, you'll be able to see material declaration as a separate tab, and you will have to declare the raw materials that you use to create an output product and for which you will be conducting the transactions. So for example, a recycler will have to declare the transaction details of the collection entity from where the raw materials were sourced from. So this is just an overview of how the material declaration would look like for a fiber producer. And I will also show how would it look like for a recycler as well. So I'll go to the live platform now. So I'm in a recycler account, and as I had mentioned that you will be able to see a separate module called material declaration. Once you will click on material declaration, you will see two other subtabs, that is material declaration and material inventory. So wherever you declare, it will show a listing, and whatever you want to declare, you'll have to toggle the button from summary to creation. And material inventory will list out all the materials that have been declared. So this is a listing part of all the material inventory, and declaration is from where you declare. So once you will click on material declaration under a recycler role, you'll be able to see material declaration. And why we have given pending and approved is there is a CB, certification body approval, that is required. That's why unless it is approved, it will stay in pending, and once it is approved, it will come under the approved tab. So in creation for a recycler, we've been asking information from where the material was sourced from, what is a type of sourcing organization, the government organization, non-profit business entity, likewise, the invoice number, invoice date, shipment reference number, and the shipment date. So all of this is related to the transactions that would have been taken place from the sourcing or the collection entity to the recycler, after which we are asking the input product category and input product detail. All of this gets collated from the master engine that we have created. So you will have to enter the input product category, input product detail, along with the composition of the inventory that you are declaring. Along with that, you will also have to declare the volume, the state and country of origin, and which is a site and facility that has been used for this particular material declaration. Again, there are mandatory supporting documents, which is same invoice, shipment, and other document types, which is purchase order and other documents, which have been similar to what I showed. So invoice and shipment document is mandatory. Purchase order and other documents is not mandatory. So this is how a material declaration would look like for a recycler. And for a fiber producer, if they are declaring the recycler, then they also will have a declaration they'll have to do the declaration for a recycler as well. So similarly, once you are a fiber producer and you will go into your account, the same you will be able to see the summary and the creation. But since you are going as a fiber producer, you're going to declare the recycler, you will be able to see a different view where you as a fiber producer will have to give the transaction details, the output product details, that is a recycled output details, output product details, and the input product details. So this is how, as a fiber producer, you will have to declare a recycler in case they are not a part of the TG platform and you are the starting point. But if it's very, very specific for a recycled product, then the fiber producer will have to declare a recycler. For a ginning mill, or you can also declare a trader in case there's a trader involved. Similarly, for a ginning mill, they can declare a farm and a trader. So this way, we are introducing now this material declaration for fiber producer filament for all the producers, for their suppliers who are not a part of the platform, and they will have to declare the inventory for their suppliers. So this is what it has been just mentioned here, that when you are in a fiber producer account, then the declaration would under fiber to retailer is an inventory declaration. And if you are starting as a fiber producer, then you just have to look at the inventory part. But if you're declaring, there's a separate inventory declaration, and you'll be able to see the transaction details between recycler and fiber producer needs to be filled in the supply transaction detail. The output product details of the recycler, what is the output product which became your inventory in real time, has to be added here. You will have to add the article number, product category detail, composition, state and country of origin. And also likewise, you'll have to mention the input product details of the recycler, what is the product category and detail along with the state and country of origin. So all this can be done with the help of the transaction rules that we have provided in the transactions module. So this is just a very brief overview of how the material declaration will work for a recycler, and if recycler or a farm is not a part of the TextileGenesis platform, then how the producers can declare the inventory. So this is it from my end. Back to you, Ranga.
Thank you, Priyanka. I hope everybody found the session useful, but before we close, I also want to cover a few things. And I know there have been some questions on the chat, which we've also answering as we go through this presentation. But before we close, I just want to take you through the fact that what happens next. So as we were speaking before, we will have the official launch of the transaction module from January 15th onwards. And post that, you will be able to conduct transactions on the new system. I think there were quite a few questions with regard to that. In addition to that, today's session was more at an overall level for transactions. We are also going to do specific transactions depending on the role that you have in the supply chain. So this is a series of webinars that we would be conducting. So on January 18th, we would be conducting a separate webinar with a focus on tier 1 suppliers, finished product suppliers and pack makers, where we will go through the modules for inventory, transaction, and dashboards specific to your role. Similarly, on January 19th, we will be doing a session that's specific to recyclers and producers, where again, we would be covering inventory, transactions, transparency map, and dashboards. On January 22nd, we will have a session that's specific to spinners and twisters, again on inventory, transactions, and dashboard. January 24th, we would be doing a session for fabric mills and dyeing houses specifically. And on January 30th, we'll be doing a session that is specific to traders. So please do look out for these sessions. We will be doing multiple sessions of this. Even today's session, for example, we would have a repeat of the same session later in the day today. For any of your colleagues who are based out of Europe or in the US and Latin America, please do tell them to attend the repeat session that's going to be happening later in the evening today. Similarly, we will also be doing different language versions of these webinars during the course of this month, so that you can also attend it in the language of your choice. And please do attend these sessions. These are important, and there will be an announcement as soon as version 2.0 goes live. Please do look for that and attend these sessions so that you can now start performing transactions on the new system as soon as it goes live. That's pretty much all we wanted to cover. Like I said, to keep in mind the dates. January 15th, we go live with the new system. And from the same week onwards, we will be conducting a series of webinars. We will share a copy of this presentation deck as well as the recording that we've had today with you. So please do look towards that. I just want to stop and see if there are any pending questions in the Q&A that requires to be addressed. If so, we can do that right away. Can someone in the panel just pick up any pending questions that we need to respond to?
Yeah, so there is one question that if we are both a recycler and a filament producer, do we need both modules, or can we only have filament producer role? It feels like a lot of extra work if we have two roles and have to manage all the transactions within the same company.
As we had in version 1.0, if you have multiple roles within the same organization, you can just use one account and select multiple roles within the same organization. So depending on which role you need to use, you just need to move to that role and conduct any transactions on that. You don't need to create separate accounts because you have multiple roles within your own organization. So I hope that is clear. Shania, is there anything else that requires to be addressed?
Yes. So there's another question. In our case, we are producing the finished product. Should we start now, or should we wait for our customers to place purchase orders and our suppliers to provide the raw materials before initiating the creation of the production orders?
Okay, this is a good question, because just like in version 1.0, you will only be able to fulfill orders that have been placed on you. If you're a tier 1 supplier, only if you've received a purchase order from your brand would you be able to fulfill that. So in a sense, yes, you'll have to wait for your brand to place an order for you to be able to fulfill. However, if you're talking about product, when you say production, if you mean product creation, you can start creating products right away. You don't need to wait for your brand to do that. But if you're talking about fulfilling orders, then yes, you need to wait for a brand to place a purchase order with you before you can fulfill it on the system.
Okay, we have another question that for a fiber or filament producer, do we have to provide wood pulp purchase details under supply transaction details tab?
So if you are declaring material inventory, there is a certain amount of information that you will be required to provide. This will be covered when you go for your specific webinar that's based on your role. So I would encourage you to attend that session where we can cover this in more detail. Today was a little more high level in terms of how to fulfill a transaction, so we didn't go into detail on that.
Okay, I think there is another question. Will language support be added to version 2.0?
Yes, thank you for the question. Yes, we will continue to provide support in different languages. The system itself will be available in multiple languages. Version 1 was available in English, simplified Chinese, and Turkish. Version 2.0 would be available in these languages to begin with, and then we would be adding more languages like Spanish, Italian, and French. And we are looking to add more and more languages through the course of the year. So please do look out for that. And thank you for that question.
Okay, the next question is about supporting documents. The suppliers can hide the price information at the documents or invoices. Is it possible?
Yes, we would actually encourage you to kind of hide or black out any information that's any commercial information, and you can submit your supporting documents without commercial information onto the system. Okay, if there are
Okay,
no...
yeah,
go ahead.
one more.
Yeah.
There is another question.
Yes, Shania, go ahead.
How to define as a trader on TG?
Sorry, could you repeat that? I couldn't get the question. Shania, could you repeat that question? I couldn't hear that.
The question is how to define as a trader on TG. Ranga, should I answer?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So trader is anybody who can trade in any type of product, whether it's a fiber, yarn, filament, any type of product that a company is trading in, where they're just not having any transformation. They're just buying from one place and selling it to the next player. That's all. That is a trader. There is no transformation happening. So it's more like a trading for any product that has been on the platform. It could be fabric or a finished product, dyed product, anything. So trader is a company who is trading in various types of products. They are not involved in any transformative steps of converting maybe a yarn to a fabric. They are just trading into products.
Thanks, Priyanka. Are there any other questions that need to be addressed?
Yeah, Ranga, we're just looking into it.
Okay.
There is one question that do we have to upload the certificates, GRS or RCS, to the system? If the certificate for the product has not yet arrived, will the transfer fail?
Priyanka, do you want to take that?
Yeah, Ranga. So this is, in case this is only applicable if your company or sites are GRS RCS certified. If it is not yet certified, while you're creating your sites under the company profile, you need not add those certificates. It would be just non-certified, and you can still create the products. So it's not a mandatory field right now. As and how you get certified, you can still update your site details and add it on at a later part. Right now, if you don't have certifications, it's fine. You can still create a product without a certified site.
There is another question regarding traders. Okay, just one second. Yeah, so in the fourth step, there is an option of site and facility management. If we are a trader with only office, can we skip this part? And the similar question has come from another supplier as well, that if they are a vertical supplier, then and they are a trader, then how do they need to upload the documents?
So for trader, they have to add, now in version 1, there is company owned subsidiary trading company and rented warehouse. So it is a requirement that if you're a trader, you will have to add the site and facility, any one of this. If you are into a rented space, we have given an option of under the ownership rented warehouse. If you are a trading company also, you can add and create your own site or facility. For a vertically integrated, we encourage that you please also add this as a separate role, so that in the traceable, the brand can see from where exactly the transactions have been conducted. So we do encourage that you please register yourself as a vertically integrated role, how many ever roles are there, and conduct the transactions as it has happened in the real-time scenario.
I think a lot of these questions will get addressed when you attend your role-specific webinars. We will cover this a lot more in detail, but thank you for the questions.
Shana, any other question that you want us to answer?
There is another question. So there is one supplier asking this question as my spinning mill site showing pending and notification says please add your USCTP certificate pending, but we didn't had USCTP previously in version 1 and now not now either. How can we add if we don't have? And why is this message showing?
Okay, we'll have to take this
Yeah.
separately.
Um, could you write to the support email ID with this problem? Then we can look into it in more detail, because I think we'll have to look a little deeper into this problem.
Yeah, we can show you what is the issue, Kaushik, and we understand the issue, but we'll have to be with you on the call to resolve this.
Yeah. Yeah, if you could raise a request with the support ID, then we can pick it up and do a separate session with you for that. Okay, if there are no more questions, then I think we can probably end this session. Thank you all for joining. And like I said, do look out for the announcement about the launch and the subsequent webinars. And in the meanwhile, if you have any questions, please do drop any to that by email as well. Thank you so much for your time. And we look forward to speaking to you on further webinars coming our way during the rest of this month.